So this is the second time that you've had Kristen Stewart as someone's assistant. Will there be a third? Is this going to be a trilogy?
No. I think we explored that. I think we kind of nailed it. No, I'd love to work with her again any time. I mean, I could work with her tomorrow, but we need to find something new to do. You know, but here I felt it was more like the continuation of what we did together in Clouds of Sils Maria, in the sense. I was not exactly frustrated, but I think I discovered the real Kristen when we were shooting Clouds of Sils Maria. I always admired her, I always loved her, and I think I was really happy to be able to cast her in Clouds of Sils Maria. But it's really while we were doing it that I realized the range, the complexity of what I could ask her, and after that film, I felt we had only gone halfway, you know, because the character did not allow us to go further. So you know, I think it inspired pretty much the writing of Personal Shopper.
Yeah, it's incredible, and I feel like your relationship with her, it's really shown the world how great of an actress she is, because you've discovered her range and everything. It's great. So the film, I knew it was a ghost story going in, but I still didn't expect like the amount of how it's like a thriller. It's kind of plays with your expectations of the genre. Can you talk about, like, did you want to make a thriller?
I think it's really about path of self-discovery, really. It's someone who has lost her twin brother, and that feels like half a person, and I think she has to become one again, and she's just trying to connect with her brother, but ultimately it's all about reconnecting with herself, and you know, and just being at peace with herself. So I think that. I love genre movies, you know. It's not that I look down on them. It's the opposite. I look up on them. I think that genre has this, you know, it gives you this physical relation to what's happening on the screen, and I think it also connects with your deepest conscious or unconscious fears, emotions. So I think it's a way of exploring characters like one step further if you use it right. So I was kind of drawn into using genre elements when I was trying to recreate the emotions of the character of Maureen.
Yeah, and a lot of the story is about whether or not you believe in ghosts and spirituality. Can you speak to your own personal beliefs about that?
It depends on the words you're using, really. If you say ghosts, you know, yeah, no, I don't think there are ghosts around. But if we talk about presences, if we talk about whatever inner world we have, where we continue having some sort of dialogue with our lost ones, with the departed. Yeah, I believe in ghosts. I believe that we have inside ourselves, all of us, a complex and mysterious inner world, and I think part of our life is also about connecting with that world in very simple terms.
Right. And Maureen's a personal shopper. That's the title of this film. Yeah. And can you talk about how clothing is such a central aspect and how wearing...
I like the idea of the tension between someone who's trying to connect with the spiritual world and who does a dull, boring, materialistic job, and it doesn't get much more materialistic than that. I mean, you know, she has this small job in the fashion industry, which is really all about surface. So it creates some kind of anger also, or frustration, and so that's what creates also the energy that drags her into the invisible, in her own inner world.
Right, and I felt like, because her character seems kind of unhappy and she doesn't want to be herself, she wants to be someone else, and then trying on Kira's clothing in a way is like becoming someone else.
Yes, she's conflicted also, as we all are. I mean, you know, because, you know, I'm talking about the materialism of the modern world. It's yes, of course, but there's also something that's fascinating. There's something that also creates desire. There's some beauty also in it. You know, my mother was a fashion designer, so I have no bad words for the fashion industry. But simultaneously, today it becomes the image of what is happening in the modern world in terms of the power of money, the power of the way we lose touch also with our more complex, deeper emotions.
Right. And a central thing as well is the text messaging in the film. Can you talk about the approach of documenting that on screen?
At some point, I wanted to make a whole movie with text messages, but that would have been maybe a bit pushing it too far. But I've really always been fascinated by the power of the text messages. You know, they are not exactly a form of poetry, but certainly a medium where words are incredibly empowered, and all of a sudden and the way we interact, the way we read them, the way we write them, it just. We need to be so focused, so precise in our use of our words, and the words end up being supercharged. So I mean, to me the question was, would it translate into movies? I mean, was it possible to recreate in movies the kind of fascination we have with the screen of our phone? And I think it does translate, but it's extremely complex. It was very technically in terms of timing, in terms of it was like precision work.
Right. Can you talk about also like the CGI effects and the ghost, how you wanted to actually portray the ghost on screen?
Yeah, I was, you know, it's, again, that's something I was kind of drawn into. I was not completely sure I wanted to represent the ghost, and at some point, you know, I like the idea to give it to the audience at some point, you know. My inspiration was obviously not horror movies. I mean, my inspiration was more like spiritualist photography, the kind of photography that mediums would use at the end of the 19th century. It's really interesting because, you know, those photos are obvious fakes. I mean, you look at them, they are, you know, just but they have something very poetic, and also they kind of capture something that has to do with our subconscious notion of what a ghost is. Meaning it's a form, but it's white. It's halfway between smoke and physicality, and so what I wanted to do is represent a ghost the way a medium from the from the 19th century would have represented it, would have imagined it.
Mm-hmm. And so much about this film is Maureen's belief that she thinks she's communicating with a ghost, and then the ending kind of puts you off, you don't know. But I went on that journey with her, believing it. Can you just talk about how you're kind of misguided because you're so invested in Maureen's belief?
It's. I think at the end she realizes that the answer is not outside; it's inside. You know, she realized that she had the answer. The answer she had it inside of herself all the time. The whole thing was more about reconciling herself with herself, and the answers will not come from outside. They will come from her own path, for her own journey.
And what do you hope audiences take from the film when they watch it?
You know, I think it's a movie that hopefully echoes with the audience, because I think it raises questions. It raises questions about things we all relate to, you know, but that are very simple. You know, how to deal with our own imagination, our own emotions, our own intimate perception of the world and our day jobs.